Here we are at National Pavement Expo 2013, and you might ask, what is this? Is it a sweeper? Yes, it is. The fact is, it's the EcoInfused technology of Elgin sweepers. It's on the Crosswind. We have with us James Crockett, who is the product manager for Elgin Sweeper. And James is going to talk to us about what this EcoInfused technology means on a Crosswind, and it's almost like you're at National Pavement Expo yourself. So take it away, James.
Good morning, Ranger. Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Crosswind with shared power featuring EcoInfused technology. And just a brief summary, EcoInfused technology basically, in summary, means a product with environmentally friendly inherent features. Some of these are actually listed right here. EcoInfused is the badge that is also going to be applied to Vector, but also Elgin. But just speaking solely about Elgin, it talks about increased fuel efficiency, reduction in CO2 emissions. The sweeper can be quieter, but also products with alternative fuel, wireless technology, reduced dust, high efficiency filtration systems. That's basically what is captured underneath the umbrella of the Elgin badge, EcoInfused.
So a variety of eco-type technologies and others that are existing now, others that will emerge and applied to the units that make most sense.
Yes.
Okay.
And talking about what we have today at NPME is the shared power Crosswind.
Okay. And this is on an auto car chassis in this
Yes,
instance, is that right? Okay.
Right now, readily available, the shared power Crosswind is available on our cab over, the auto car cab over. It will be available on conventional chassis, your Freightliner M2, as well as the International 4300 DT or M7.
I'll step back and you can see this this chassis together, and in this instance you're talking about a shared power situation, and let's talk about that over here.
I do want to point out that although we do have this nice sweep wrap on here, not every EcoInfused Crosswind is going to look as green as this, but you will notice that on the side panels of the engine closure, every sweeper that is EcoInfused will be glad to bear our EcoInfused badge right here on the side. That way, not only does the city know that it's an environmentally friendly sweeper, but also the constituents. So, talking about shared power, again, it is a patent pending system that Elgin developed early last year. Shared power, and to basically take a step back first and understand why we wanted to go with shared power, you have to first understand that we wanted to change the horsepower orthodox. What does that mean? Well, basically, we wanted to do more with less. So on the back here of the sweeper auxiliary engine, we're still using the John Deere 4045 turbocharged diesel engine, but it's a lower horsepower engine. It is a 74 horsepower auxiliary engine. But why did we choose that horsepower? Well, it makes sense if you take a step back and look at really what is the EPA demanding in terms of emissions regulations for each horsepower range. If you look at the higher two, they're going to be more complex. They're going to require a dosing system and a DEF. So looking at the lowest horsepower range, 75 or 74 and under, there isn't quite so much stringent requirements in that horsepower range.
Not as much that can go wrong either.
There's also less maintenance involved.
Sure.
You don't have to charge air cooler, and again, you don't have to worry about filling the unit up with urea. But the 74 horsepower, when we engineering at Elgin took a look at it, it actually where customers were using the Crosswind, 80% of them operating at 1800 RPM, it met the needs for 80% of their applications. So we're up against this dividing line. And again, if you're aware, you know, that 74 and below, but also going up was this dividing line. We always erred on the side of caution and always opted to put more horsepower in the system. So in this case, we said, well, with all the field research we've done, customer evaluations, and feedback we received, and also the internal testing we've done, a lower horsepower engine actually met the customer's expectations and also Elgin's performance expectations. So we first, again, understanding that 74 met that need, we also wanted to, I guess, provide something that would, again, help let the customer hold on to their high horsepower mentality while still providing a value proposition to the customer. So that's when we started conceptually thinking about, well, where else can we take horsepower? You know, overnight changing our system from a 115 down to a 74, that's a big drop. You know, going, you know, dropping by 40 horsepower. In the minds of the customer, they would immediately perceive that as less performance.
Right.
So for years, we monitor sweepers on chassis. There's a large diesel engine underneath the hood in excess of 200 horsepower. So it's we started brainstorming and thinking, well, let's start tapping into that source. So that's where we started thinking about sharing power between the chassis and the auxiliary engine. So how we share power. Sharing power occurs in the patent pending system on the, we actually take it, it's probably best seen off of the transmission PTO. This is a Allison 2500 RDS transmission, and we mount a variable displacement pump. Yeah, it is a little dark. We mount a variable displacement pump onto the PTO of the transmission, and a variable displacement pump actually is important to understand. We're able to set the pressure, have a set pressure, vary the flow, which is actually a more efficient solution. So again, you're not losing horsepower due to, you know, to heat. So using the transmission PTO, we're able to take horsepower from the chassis engine and apply it directly into the sweeper auxiliary system.
So what are we looking at back here? This is just your coolant setup, your muffler system, your what is it we're seeing in this area?
Oh, basically all you're seeing right here is just the Cummins engine for the chassis. This is the chassis side
common
of it.
normal Cummins stuff. But as I understand, if we go up the ramp here, we can see. Let's do that. We can see the guts of the patent pending system.
Again, down here, you'll see again the PTO and the variable displacement pump mounted to the PTO of the Allison 2500 RDS transmission. So this is where we're actually peeling horsepower off of the chassis. And for those of you who understand how this PTO works, it's actually a passive PTO. So that does require the PTO to have to achieve an adequate turbine speed in order to
actuate that,
to engage the PTO. So once the sweeper is actually moving at a predetermined speed, which again is a low threshold, you're able to start generating flow on this side of the system. You'll be running the sweeper auxiliary engine, and
this is just the John Deere normal auxiliary.
Exactly.
Okay.
So again, you're generating flow over here on the chassis side. Over here, when you're running the engine, we have a hydraulic motor coupled to the outboard shaft of the aux engine, but bolted to the fan pulley of the system. It's actually right down there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little difficult to see. But while that engine is running, that motor now is actually a pump. So it too is also generating flow. So you got these two systems generating hydraulic fluid power. But right here is where the two are married together. This is where we have the load sense in the system, and when the auxiliary engine is under load, it will sense the flows being, the auxiliary engine flow will actually drop.
Mm-hmm.
Then the chassis engine flow will actually be higher. So that built-in load sense will automatically detect that there is a need for additional horsepower on the auxiliary engine, and thus hydraulic fluid power is transmitted to the sweeper system.
So you're able to use a class lower auxiliary with less maintenance. You don't have to use DEF, and yet keep the sweeping performance rolling that people would expect out of a Crosswind.
Yes.
And so there must be some fuel usage implications there.
Yes. One, primarily due to, I like to call it energy reclamation, or in the automotive industry they call this regenerative braking. That is when you're coasting downhill, you got the momentum of the vehicle here, and when needed, that energy can be taken, which is free, and taken off of the transmission and applied back into the sweeper auxiliary engine immediately. That's free energy, not only going downhill, but also during a deceleration event. Also, again, it's just physics. Fuel economy is a function of horsepower. You're using a smaller auxiliary engine, you're going to have fuel economy benefits there.
Right. And are there any other differences in the Crosswind? I mean, Crosswind people know about, and if not, go to the Elgin website. But Crosswind is a venerable sweeper. It's well known. It has an excellent reputation. So there are no other modifications in the Crosswind. It's how the fuel or the energy gets to the sweeping portion of it that we're talking about.
Again, we're challenged with meeting EPA emission regulations. This was a very cost-effective solution to do so. We wanted to be able to provide the same performance in a package that was attractive to customers without really raising the bar on price.
And these smaller reputation or engines have a better reputation in that you don't have to do the DEF and so forth to comply.
It's basically what the customer, if you take a step back, going back to when Tier 2 was around, this basically resembles the exact same engine that a lot of us are familiar with several years ago.
Yeah. That some number of people wish they could still be familiar with today.
Yes, exactly.
No
so
question.
Again, we're able to kind of maintain that familiarity with engine technology of the past, and not really bring all that messy EPA required systems to maintain compliance, basically escalating your maintenance costs, servicing, troubleshooting complexity. Again, we just wanted to keep it simple. We do still offer the 115 horsepower Tier 4 interim compliant solution for the Crosswind that is available for customers who have that 20% that, again, I said that this product wouldn't meet their performance expectations on. But again, that 20%, that 115 horsepower solution is still available for them.
Okay. Is there anything else we should know about this machine, the EcoInfused part?
Actually.
Or other?
On the new Tier 4, we did develop a new operator console and electrical system.
Let's see if we can see in there. Yeah, it looks like we can.
So we did over a year's worth of customer evaluations and field testing to get this customer feedback and really just improve the ergonomics of the operator console. We moved a lot of switches around to where the operators will first have the tendency to want to reach for a particular rocker switch for a function of the sweeper, but we didn't want them to have to take their eyes off the road. That's important. Improves safety, but also maintains productivity. So we improved operator ergonomics, but also with this new system, we applied that keep it simple philosophy. So using that philosophy, we're targeting improved reliability, durability, but ease of troubleshooting.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well thank you very much.
Thank you, Ranger.
That's an in-depth analysis of what this EcoInfused shared power, in this case the shared power portion of EcoInfused technology at Elgin is. And you can see it on the Crosswind, and then I would anticipate that in not too long we'll see other items coming from we don't know which products. And you do, but...
yes, we do. There's always surprises ahead.
All right.
Feel free to go to our website at www.elginsweeper.com to find more information about the Elgin Crosswind with EcoInfused shared power technology.
All right. Well, this is Ranger Kidwell Ross, editor at World Sweeper. We've been talking with James Crockett, who is the products manager for Elgin Sweeper Company, and we're at National Pavement Expo 2013. Thanks, James.
Thank you, Ranger.